Hi, I'm Yoshitaka Yamamoto of the National Institute of Japanese Literature. I research classical Chinese poetry and prose by Edo period Japanese authors. In this video, we'll travel to Mount Tenpō in 19th century Osaka. Published in Osaka in 1834, Tenpōzan shōkei ichiran, or Scenic Views of Mount Tenpō at a Glance, is an album of 6 polychrome prints. Normally, we encounter individual sheets from this album, and it's rare to find the album in its original form, like this copy at the Fear Gallery of Art. The original front cover shows plum blossoms long associated with Osaka. The title slip is missing. This scene might remind you of The Great Wave by Hokusai. This album was published around the same time as Hokusai's 36 Views of Mount Fuji and Hiroshige's 53 Stations of the Tōkaido. The public had an appetite for landscape prints like this. The album opens with a preface written by the artist himself, Yashima Gakutei, who had studied with one of Hokusai's students. Gakutei describes Osaka's prosperity as a commercial hub and how Mount Tenpō was created by the shogunate as an artificial hill and then turned into a scenic spot, complete with cherry blossoms and pine trees. This is Mount Tenpō, which had just been created in the second year of the Tenpō era, with sand dug up from the bottom of the harbor in a dredging project to deepen the channel. Mount Tenpō was actually a small hill, but here it's depicted as a mountain fantastically towering above the clouds. In the late 19th century, the hill was partly leveled, and today, not much of the original Mount Tenpō remains, although there's a park commemorating the site. A cargo ship is caught in a sudden summer storm. In the background, Mount Tenpō hovers like a mirage. Colors and gradations have been applied with meticulous care to this copy, and the varied hues of blue add an illusion of depth to the rolling waves. Around this time in Japan, composing classical Chinese poetry was a popular pastime. Some poems compared Mount Tenpō to Mount Ponglai, a mystical island of the immortals in Chinese mythology. Gakutei probably depicted Mount Tenpō in the image of Mount Ponglai as well. It was common in Edo period Japan to depict Mount Ponglai as a mountain that rose high above the clouds. Mount Ponglai was also commonly drawn in combination with cranes, turtles, pine, and bamboo, all symbols of longevity. Cranes fly as sunlight beams down on Mount Tenpō on the left, dotted with pine trees. The cranes and pine trees evoke the image of Mount Ponglai. We can also detect influences from European art in the use of perspective in the depiction of cargo ships coming into port. Here's a dreamy, moonlit scene. The moon is not printed. What we see is the color of the paper. One way to have fun with these types of art is to step inside the picture by pretending to be one of the human figures. The person gazing at the moon from the top of the bridge and the passengers on the boat are, in a way, our alter egos. Let's make our way into this scene by placing ourselves on the stone bridge, the boat, or the hillside. Mount Tenpō is on the right. Mount Tenpō was designed as a navigational landmark for ships, but it also attracted large crowds, just as towers used for broadcasting and communications today can double as tourist destinations. The shogunate built an observation deck with a panoramic view of Osaka Bay. Across the bay to the left, we see a fire watchtower. This was a familiar feature in Edo period towns and cities. There are pillars made with masts taken from old ships. They had square holes cut through them, and visitors could climb through them just like at Todaiji Temple in Nara. The album ends with the final part of the preface, which mentions that this album was published in hopes of reaching audiences in distant places. On the left, the publishers have listed other publications about Mount Tenpō. This album was marketed as a perfect souvenir from Osaka, as this advertisement shows. Even after 200 years, the power of Gakutei's art allows us to travel virtually across time and space to 19th century Osaka, to Mount Tenpō, and perhaps even to the imaginary landscape of Mount Ponglai. The digital images of this album are available online. I hope you can take another stroll through them.